Okay, now let's configure the contact management system. Basically, the contact management system ship as a library, so you don't have to code anything. You just simply copy and paste the callback function, so the system is smoothly working. But you have to follow these three steps. The first one is you have to create a Google Sheet and share it as a public domain. The second one is including the library. And the third one is copy and paste all the callback functions to your project. After you are completing these three steps, you can deploy it and launch it. The system is working properly. So we are going see one by one. For your information, the library, in order to include the library to your project, you have to get script ID or the library signature. You can get this signature from me or from Shabib, and also I will post it on the Git so you can get it from there. And also the callback functions, a list of callback functions. I will deliver it to you, or you can get it from the Git. I think Shabib will also have this list of callback functions, so you have to include it on your project to have a better result. I will explain it all those callback functions and their functionalities, and I will show you the step-by-step process how you configure the system. Okay, first let's create the Google Sheet and share it publicly. So here I'm creating the Google Sheet, and I name it Test for Contact Management System. You can name whatever you want to name your sheet, but you have to be strict to use those names for your worksheets. You have to have four worksheets. This for worksheet has its own functionality, so I will explain it later, but you have to use the naming pattern strictly. If it is capital letter, you have to write it as a capital letter. If there is a space, you have to put a space, and so on. Okay, after you are creating this, you have to share this in a public domain. So press on share, then anyone, make it anyone to be accessed. Here you have to change from the viewer scope to the editor scope. After you are doing this, okay, you need to copy this one, copy it, then, so that you are included on your project. Let's create a new project. Let's give it a name, new contact management system. Let's name it this one. Okay, completing the first step, I create a Google Sheet. I do put a name properly, this workbook properly. I'm sharing to the public domain as an editor. So let's proceed to the next step, including the library to your project. Uh, as I told you, the library needs its signature, so you can find those signatures from the Git. I'll give you the Git address later on. To include the library, just press on the plus sign, put the script on the script ID, just look up, and you can find the name of the library in the version. Basically, this is for a testing purpose, that's why the version 165 is allowed, but in your case, it may be a version 1 or 2. But you have to select the latest version. Be sure that it should be the latest version. So add it. It's successfully added. So let's bring our callback functions. The callback functions also uh, shared. I will give you a simple explanation about uh, the callback functions line by line. Let's remove the USB sharing parameter. So and like this. Let me delete one. Basically, we have a 9 function, including the on open. As I told you before, if you want to deploy your AppScript project as a web app, you have to use a .get or post function. So this .get function gives you two basic things. The first one, it's authenticating the user with a URL, and the second one is it used to load the main content. The second function is on open. It's simply called the library get. The library has also a get, so this on open function called a get function of a library. This callback function used to load the organization list. This organization list is collected from this worksheet. I will explain the worksheets later. The third one is get all the group. These all groups. All groups means you have all the lists here. You will add all the groups in here. So all this data is fetched and displayed by this function. This is the main function that used to register and edit the user contact. This function used to search the edit for edits. This one is for send the pin code for the user for deleting the user contact. This one is for actual deleting the user. Validation is used to prepare the URL and send the URL for verification to the user. This function is responsible for that. This get my node function will be used to display the header information of your page. Okay, almost 10 functions, and we have like four, four variables. The first one is for a welcome note for your user. This note this text will send when the user is joined your email. The second one is sent for edits. You can change it uh, by your uh, by your demand. The second parameter is used to get uh, your worksheet address. This one is for header note of your page. So if you change this variable name, you have to also update the variable name in here and in here. So you have to be careful that if you change the variable name, you have to change it, the variable name on the parameters too. So done and done. We are completing all the things. So let's deploy. By the way, when you are deploying your system, you have to ask to grant the permission for the system. So you have to give a permission for the system. Let's see when we are doing the deployment. Web app description, our contact system. You have to put execute as your email because the system, all the system user is execute as if you are executing the system who is accessing anyone with the address. So let's deploy. It asks us to give a permission for some of the modules because we are using the email, we are using the contacts, and we are using the app script itself and so on. So let's give those permission. Select your email. advanced. Go to the new contact management system. Now, so your system is ready. So you have to copy this URL. So you are sharing this URL to the partners later on. Let's see. Yeah. So your system is alive now. We will change a bit and we will see what happened. Basically, let's see the worksheet in place. Here, these all lists are captured from here.
So let's remove some contents from organization list and let's see what happened on the system.
Only for organization. Let's go and check from our system. Here, see, all for organizations. Okay, fine. Let's go to our system. Let's create data. Gmail.com. Let's select this one, and save my contact. So verify my email. I will go on here. Yeah. Okay, let me explain a bit about what label is and how can we use that on our system. So basically, a label is a tool or a mechanism that helps you to classify and organize users together so that when you want to send for a bunch of people, you don't have to call or put individual's name. Instead, you can group it together and put it on a single level. Then you can send it that level, so everybody on the parts of that level will be receive your email. So to create an email, you can see to create a label, you go to the contact Google Contact Management app. So and click on create label. So you can put whatever name you want to put and then save it. So your label is created. So you can include or remove person from your label. For instance, on test label, there is a 2%. You can remove them until that so the person is automatically removed from this label. So when you send, for instance, for test label, somebody only a member of that label will be received. So this is a simple straightforward process. Let's see the integration with our systems. Basically, when you are creating an organization list, type is refers to your labels. So, for instance, we have created a for labels in our contacts, international NGOs, local NGOs, in governments, in whatever you want to create. So you have to create all the labels which needs to be directly related to uh, the, the type which is mentioned on your organization list. So this helps you that, for instance, if you want to send for only for government officials, you can simply call a gov label on your email. So you can send for all governments. If somebody is selecting, for instance, local NGO, so the system at the back assign that person into the local NGO groups or on the local NGO labels. So that when you want to send only for local NGOs, the person who is registered as a local NGOs receive your email. Not only that, but also we can create a group for a particular reason. So a person will join that group. So when you send uh, for a group, only an interested user will receive your email. For instance, if we have a meeting, a monthly meeting of some national or some national clusters, so if you want to call only for the person who has an interest of to attend that meeting, you have to first allow the person to select or show his interest. So in our system, at this point, we didn't have any group sets here. There is no groups. So let's create a group. And then the person can join in our group so that we can send it from our email. So to do that, there is a label worksheet. So on these two columns, column A and column B, we have to put a label name and label description as it's written in here. You don't have to put or change any naming, or you don't have to put any another character. It has to be set as it is. So let's put a group. Okay, for simplicity, I'm simply copy and paste it, which means that if you if your group if your label name is written in here, so you have to create a label also from your contact list, so that when a person is selecting, for instance, this, assume this is a group name, the person select this, so the person have to be included on that. Okay, the system is doing this well. So on the second column, you have to put a description. If you don't have a description, you can leave it as an empty. But it's advisable to put a description because a new user may not know what it is, if it is a meeting, or it's maybe uh, your group description have to be put in here in some way so that the person can know what it is, what that group is. So after we are putting this, let's see. Yeah, so our system is automatically gets the list from our list. Let's see, for instance, let's edit my contact. So before I'm editing, let's see what groups that I have. Okay, I have two groups. Let's go to my contact and see what groups are included. Um, okay, so an information management meeting and national information management meeting is already, I'm selecting those groups so that when information management officer send for this group, I will receive that email. So let's change it and how the system change these values. By the way, this international NGO is written at the back because I'm selecting the organization name which has an international NGO. So this will not be changed unless it's changed in here. Okay, this label will not change or it will not be dynamic
label. Okay, let me for instance look here and check this one and save it.